Hi everyone, and welcome back to my devlog. If you're new here, I post weekly videos logging the progress of the new third-person looter-shooter mobile game I'm developing called N.E.S.T, so consider subscribing to follow along. Unfortunately, I didn't upload last week because I had no time to work on the game. The semester had just finished, and so I ended up spending a lot of time packing up my entire room at res, throwing it all into my car, and then driving all the way back home. On top of that, it was also my grandpa's funeral that Friday, and so I spent time with my family. This last week though was pretty productive, so let's get into that. I started off by adding the rest of the primitive colliders to the different body parts of each alien. As I explained in the previous devlog, this is for performance reasons, but also because I wanted to add a critical hit mechanic. So that's what I worked on next. I achieved this by simply tagging specific game objects, like the eyes or head with colliders on them, as critical. A critical hit, which is identified by a larger red font, deals twice as much damage as normal, and also prevents aliens from defending attacks. Now there's something new. I added the ability for aliens to perform defensive actions based on a probability each time they take damage. Defending could refer to dodging, blocking, or even forming a force field in order to protect themselves. Next up, I added a death animation and a transitioning effect to the camera. I also made it so that the aliens roar if the player dies close enough to them. This acts as a sort of victory cry, and after that, they simply return back to wandering. Now, since I had all the attack systems in place from the last video, it was time to start adding the different ranged and special attacks. For ranged attacks, this meant having to define all of the fields associated with launching a projectile. For special attacks, on the other hand, I derived from the base alien controller class and added methods to be invoked by the animation clips through events. I explained this in more detail in the last video. The next thing I needed to make the aliens feel more alive was some sound effects. Because of the many different aliens, I needed a large variety of sounds that matched their different physiques. Bruh. Bruh, 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 bruh. After looking around, I came across a pack by David Dumai, a professional sound designer. So I sent an email and asked if it would be possible to hear a single sound effect from each of the monsters. In the morning, I was pleasantly surprised to see an email back from David, saying that he would give me the pack for free in exchange for an honest review. Sounds like a great deal to me. I spent the entire day going through all of the sound effects and organizing them into attack, ambient, death, and roar folders for each of the different aliens. The ambient folder is for the random sound effects that aliens make, much like how cows moo or zombies groan at random times when wandering around. My next big task for the week was to start putting my Blender skills to the test and begin modeling some consumables. This included an energy drink, a morphine injection syringe, a container of painkillers, a single plaster, a roll of bandages, and a first aid kit. Unfortunately, after I'd finished, and as you can probably see, I realized that my models were way too high poly and didn't match my art style at all, and so I redid them. But I'm quite happy with how they turned out in the end. Lastly, I modeled a concept for the N.E.S.T and added a bit more detail to the crater I had previously made. But that's gonna do it for this week. If you enjoyed or learned something, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to follow along on the development of this game. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.